We've lost just over 9,500 businesses in the last month. And that's up 140% in the 3 months to July. We are starting to see absolute devastation in our small businesses in places like Auckland and the Waikato. This is not something that we're sleepwalking along to. This is happening now. And I think this morning in the Committee of the Whole, we saw a minister who really does not understand business. He talks about revenue, and that's the test that has been put into this bill. But the real issue, as we tried to point out to him, it's about cash when you're a small business. Do I have enough cash to pay my rent? Do I have enough cash to pay my wages? And that's the problem. No one plans in their right mind to have a government tell them you cannot trade for 26 weeks. No one can envisage that. I did a case on a hairdresser. She was lucky because her landlord had done the right thing and given her a 50% discount on the rent. She was lucky, and I've got to acknowledge there have been many, many generous landlords. But I can tell you that if she hadn't had that right of that rent, she would have lost $100,000. And that was $100,000. She was telling me how she's borrowing against her house to try and keep her staff on a pay book so they had a job when ultimately, sometimes in the future, they can come back to work. And that's the real reality of what's going on. These are the type of businesses that are going to crash in the next few weeks. Even the increased the resurgence payment doesn't come into effect. You can't even apply for it until 3 weeks after Grant Robertson made the announcement. In those 3 weeks, we're going to see more small businesses go to the wall. Every day, I got on average 100 calls from concerned constituents, many of them related to small business owners. Every day, without fail, 100 people contacting me either by phone, email, asking for help during this lockdown. Unfortunately, most people down in this area haven't seen that degree of pressure, mental stress. And this is the one remaining aspect that should have been dealt by a government. And it should have been dealt with back last year. But here we are 18 months later, and you finally front up with this piece of bill that will not help. Where's the cash? Well, the cash, this is the socialisation of the cost of a government-imposed lockdown, where the Labor government is saying to landlords, you're all wealthy, you can do it, you should pay for it, you pick up the tab. Well, actually, it's a Labor government-imposed lockdown as a result of poor, slow rollout of the vaccine and poor MIQ facilities. Nothing to do with a small business owner, a hairdresser, or those types of people who've gone about doing all the right stuff. Many of them are double vaccinated now. And yet, here we are with a piece of legislation that doesn't help them one toe, because most people will not have the time, the money, or even the mental capacity to take on their landlord if they have to and go to arbitration. And that's why when they put up the $40 million last time for the arbitration, no one took it up. No one took it up. And so here we are. This is an insensitive piece of legislation. This shows a government that does not understand small business. I'm really, really concerned. And I just think that lack of care and real understanding about how small businesses operate, the mums and dads and their key staff, and they're all families, they're not workers and things like that, this esoteric concept. They're people that get on with each other, who work together, families. And they're all going broke. A lot of them are going broke. 9,500. I'll be interested to see how many go broke next month. And I'll tell you what, what's going to happen is that most of them are hoping they can get through to Christmas. Most of them are hoping the government's going to open up the country, hoping they're going to get a Christmas where they can get a bit of money in. But in the middle of January, they're going to pay the first round of provisional tax. Then they're going to pay more in March. Then in April, that's when the road will hit. because those companies will fall over because they don't have cash. What the government should have done is done the support payment that we put forward 2 months ago, given these people cash to get them through the process, and only now the resurgent payment, it's going to happen in 2 weeks' time when they finally can make the first application. That'll be a month after they make after the announcement. It's such a waste of people's lives. That's the most damaging thing about this bill. I'm ashamed